Back once again with some of the most disgusting cars part exchange into the UK car network. Today we have the luxury item that is a 169,000 mile Ford C-Max. This highly desirable, well looked after vehicles come to us complete with bitten off fingernails, dog hair and copious amounts of mould. So much mould in fact, I'm wondering why the car dealer is trying to clean it and sell it. He could have quite honestly sold it to a laboratory for testing. So my mission today, unfortunately I did choose to accept it, is to try and make this car saleable and get rid of some of that mould on the seatbelt. So this is going to be a best we can do in one day sort of scenario. We can start with the engine bay, give the car a good wash as well. Whack some degreasant on first. We're going to agitate that with a little brush and then just simply jet wash that off. Lucky for us, these Fords are pretty well covered up electrical wise, wasn't anything to bag up underneath here or cover as such. And as long as you're not going too aggressive with the jet wash, I always turn the pressure down on these. It's pretty safe to give them a wash, to be honest. So with the vehicle inside the workshop, we can remove the rear seats, which is just simply unbolt on one of these, and we can look to give the inside a really good deep clean and vac. I'm going to use this drill brush here. It's just going to agitate that pile in the carpet and just make my life a little bit easier. Once this rear carpet and other areas have had a good scrub, we can turn our attention to that rather disgusting handbrake area. Just going to use a little smaller brush here and just agitate the dust and fingernails and hair out before moving on to the wet work, which is going to involve cleaning things like this headliner. Now you can use something like a sting cleaner on headlining quite happily. You just need to be aware of two things: how old the car is, how fragile that roof lining is going to be. As they age, the glue and materials and stuff that hold them up can get a little bit sort of weak and they start to sag if they get too wet. I find as a rule of thumb to get a damp microfiber, put the all-purpose cleaner on it for etc., and then give it a scrub over. This is more the safest option you can go with. Obviously put some antibacterial and anti-mold agents in the water as well, so as I'm scrubbing these areas it's going to help to kill that off and stop it from coming back again. So now it's time to tackle these rather disgusting seatbelts. They're all the same, they've all got mould on them, so first of all I'm going to run this damp microfiber over the top just to get the worst of it off. Once that's done, it's just a case of spraying on some anti-mold, antibacterial agents onto the seatbelt and just making sure they're thoroughly cleaned. Two best bits of advice I can give you with this is: number one, make sure you wear a mask. Anything you're doing where it's got mould inside the car, protect your health, that's absolutely paramount. Secondly, once this car's been completely valeted or detailed, whatever you want to call it, you need to make sure that you run the vehicle up and either use its internal heater to dry it out or potentially put a dehumidifier in it. When you do that, you've got to make sure that all the seat belts are fully extended. So how I usually do that is I clip them into their buckles and then pull them all the way out and wrap them around the seats. That way they get the full opportunity to dry fully before they're retracted back into their door pillars. So with things like the plastic door cards, seat belts, headlining, etc. cleaned, we can now turn our attention to wet vacuuming the interior. And as we can see on the base of this seat, sometimes you're going to have to go over them 3 or 4 times because although this first pass has pulled a lot of the junk out of the seat, there's still quite a lot of staining there. So it's just a case of reapplying some more detergent, going at it with a drill brush, or sometimes a nail brush is quite effective, and just repeat the process until such time as they're visibly clean. So one of the things we need to do next is dress the engine bay. Now in some of my videos I use Autoglym Super Sheen while the engine's still wet. You can just apply that as is. In this instance I've gone for Car Pro Pearl. I've diluted that 50-50 with water. Get good coverage still. It's a nice easy product and it's going to leave a nice sort of silk sheen at the end. Now's a good opportunity to do the top of the glass before we put the windows up, so we haven't got to do it later. And I'm just using a clay bar here just to remove any bonded contaminants and sort of fallout out of the paintwork. We're going to apply a little bit of masking tape to the more sensitive areas before we start to machine polish the car, so we don't want to mark them. And then what I've done here is slow down the footage of my dual action flex polisher. And it just shows you how it works. So on cameras we can see it not only rotates but it oscillates as well. And the bonus of this is it's going to really reduce the possibility of swirl marks. It's not impossible to still put swirl marks in the paint with a dual action polisher, but as long as you're cautious and you know what you're doing, you're probably never going to get them. And for cars like this as well, I'm not going to pretend we're trying to get every single mark out. This is not a high-end $800 or £800 detail. All we're trying to do is improve what the car looks like. The paintwork's quite weathered and hazy and sort of flat and dull, so the polish is just going to go over a few times and improve it. Once we've done that, we're using a spray sealant. This I think was Rupez's one. It's very good actually. Spray it on, buff it off. Then we're going to clean the glass. Once that's done, I can go around and do little things like touching in the paintwork, stone chips, dressing the tyres, and just the finer details to finish the car off. So with this all complete, we can now take the car outside and do a few before and afters. Now I'm not going to pretend this car's concourse and it's going to go and win any show and shy competitions, it's not. But it's a vast improvement on what was there to start with. And for a family or somebody who's on a bit of a budget and just want a cheap run around or a second car, this is ideal. It's still got a decent amount of life left in it, and to use an old terminology, it'll do somebody a good turn. Now, if you like content like this, which is sort of the shorter format of disaster details I suppose, and you're looking also for some maybe tips and tricks to clean your own car and some decent product reviews on stuff that I've tried and tested for a long period of time, then stay tuned, because 2024 is going to have a combination of all of that and more. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.